Merdeka! 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 Merdeka!
Live from Angkasa Puri, I'm Shuhaida Arifin and this is Updates at Noon, making the headlines today. Over 5,000 rural traders registered for READY program. At least 23 killed, sparking new fears of new Libyan war. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah graced Malaysian Hokkien Exemplary Readers and Outstanding Entrepreneurs Awards dinner last night. Al-Sultan Abdullah spent almost 2 hours at the event, which was held in conjunction with the 65th anniversary of the Federation of Hokkien Associations of Malaysia, FHAM. His Majesty also presented the award to the 10 recipients. Also present were Transport Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Ka Siong and FHAM President Tan Sri Lim Hock San. Tan Sri Lim, when delivering his speech, said those who won the awards had demonstrated their capabilities not only in terms of making profits but also showed their businesses were sustainable and scalable. The Prime Minister's Special Envoy to China, Datuk Sri Tiong King Sing, was among the award recipients who was recognised for his excellence in national service. Top Glove Corporation's Berhad Executive Chairman, Tan Sri Dr. Lim Wee Chai, received the award in the Corporate Eminence category. The FHAM's objectives are to unite the Hokkien clan and improve education and cultural development while carrying out philanthropic activities for the benefit of the society. A total of 5,321 rural traders have registered under the Retail Sector Digitalisation Initiative READY program. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Datuk Seri Alexander Nantalingki said 15,000 registered traders were targeted by 2025 under the READY program, aims at bridging the digital divide, especially among traders in rural areas.
Jadi sasaran kita setiap tahun adalah kita mencapai setiap tahun 3,750 penjaja peringkat projek ni mendaftar dalam program ini. Sebab itu sasaran kita 2025 kita sasarkan 15,000 mereka ni. Jadi untuk di Bera ni kita dapati ada 4,000 projek Jadi dalam program hari ini kita dah dapat lebih 1,000 sudah dah mendaftar. Jadi usaha akan kita teruskan.
To achieve the target, the ministry together with the e-wallet service providers have gone down to the ground, especially rural areas including Kapit Sarawak, Kuala Berang Terengganu and Pangkor Island Perak. A total of 46,426 women entrepreneurs have participated in the Wanita Bangkit Alliance KPWKM program since it was launched on 1st September last year. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Seri Rina Muhammad Harun said this was a promising development, especially after the country entered the transition to endemic phase. The Wanita Bangkit at KPWKM initiative was born from the COVID-19 pandemic situation, which has affected the lives of people in various aspects, especially finances. She said the initiative is in line with the government's aspiration of no one is left behind, as well as to support and protect the lives of those affected, particularly women.
Macam kita tengok tadi bila kita berjumpa, kata boleh ke YB saya nak join, boleh ke saya nak mulakan perniagaan. Sebenarnya apa yang kita boleh, sebab tu kita ada juga sesi perkongsian ni, sebab kita nak berikan mereka motivasi. Siapa pun kita, walaupun kita hanya suri rumah, walaupun kita tidak berpelajaran tinggi, walaupun apa sahaja dugaan yang kita hadapi sebelum ini, dia tidak menghalang kita untuk diberikan peluang yang lebih baik pada masa akan datang.
Met after launching the Wanita Bangkit at KPWKM Career and Entrepreneurship Carnival in Sepang, she also encourages women to always be ready to face various challenges and be independent to find a source of income. Malaysia and Thailand have agreed to expedite the implementation of infrastructure projects, especially at the border. Senior Public Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof said the move is an effort to enhance the trade activities and relations between the people of the two countries. He said Malaysia and Thailand see the importance of ensuring that infrastructure projects at the border are given serious attention. The projects include the construction of the Rantau Panjang Sungai Golok Bridge, Pangkalan Kubur Takbai Bridge, and the road alignment connecting the Bukit Kayu Hitam Immigration, Customs, Quarantine and Security ICQS complex and the new Sadao CIQ complex in Songkhla. Met by Bernama in Bangkok, he said negotiations between Malaysia and Thailand for these projects have been delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Datuk Seri Fadilah, who is currently on a working visit to Bangkok, had a meeting with Deputy Prime Minister Prawit Wongsuwan on Friday and Transport Minister Saksayam Chichop on Thursday. This working visit aims to discuss efforts to further enhance cooperation between Malaysia and Thailand regarding the implementation of infrastructure projects involving both countries. Chinese building walls to combat drought. There are more. Come right after this short break.
Kejayaan negara pada hari ini adalah hasil muafakat serta usaha perjuangan kita secara berterusan bagi melihat sebuah negara bangsa yang berdaulat, sejahtera dan maju. Nilai jati diri yang tersemat kukuh di jiwa menjadi tunjang kekuatan kita bagi menjaga keselamatan dan kesejahteraan negara tercinta. Suasana keharmonian, kesetiaan dan perpaduan dalam keluarga Malaysia yang dipamerkan membuktikan betapa kita perlu mengukuhkan semangat patriotisme daripada diganggu pelbagai anasir dari dalam maupun luar. Oleh itu adalah penting untuk kita terus menyuburkan semangat cintakan negara selaras dengan prinsip-prinsip rukun negara yang telah sebati dalam jiwa sanubari. Hormatilah prinsip yang berjaya menyatu padukan kita semua sebagai sebuah keluarga untuk saling bantu-membantu dan melindungi antara satu sama lain. Demi tanah air, demi anak bangsa, ayuh keluarga Malaysia. Bersama-samalah kita menyemarakkan lagi sambutan bulan kemerdekaan dengan mengibarkan jalur gemilang di rumah, bangunan pejabat, bangunan perniagaan, bahkan di kenderaan kita. Sematkan di hati dengan semangat patriotisme untuk mempertingkatkan lagi keamanan, kemakmuran dan kesejahteraan negara tercinta demi keluarga. Selamat menyambut Hari Kebangsaan 2022. Merdeka, merdeka, merdeka.
Welcome back. Clashes between backers of Libya's rival governments killed at least 23 people and damaged 6 hospitals in Tripoli on Saturday, sparking fears that a political crisis could spiral into a major new armed conflict. Small arms fire and explosions rocked several districts of the capital overnight and into Saturday, when smoke could be seen rising from damaged buildings. The head of the government in Tripoli, Abdulhamid Beiba, posted a video of himself surrounded by bodyguards and greeting fighters supporting him. In an update though, the health ministry in Tripoli said 23 people had been killed and 140 wounded in the fighting. 6 hospitals were hit and ambulances were unable to reach areas affected by the clashes, the ministry has said earlier, condemning war crimes. The two rival administrations, vying for control of the North African country and its vast oil resources, exchange blame. The UN's Libya mission called for an immediate cessation of hostilities, citing ongoing armed clashes including indiscriminate medium and heavy shelling in civilian-populated neighborhoods. Pakistan's Prime Minister Muhammad Shehbaz Sharif visited a flood-hit region of his country and appealed to the rich to help the victims in poor areas. Historic monsoon rains and flooding in Pakistan have killed more than 900 people and affected more than 13 million people over the last few weeks. The country's climate change minister called the situation a climate-induced humanitarian disaster of epic proportions. During a visit to review rescue and relief operations in flood-hit areas of villages in Sujawal, Sindh province, the Prime Minister was given a detailed briefing over the situation and the relief efforts. Pakistani leaders have appealed to the international community for help and plan to launch an international appeal fund. The military has joined the country's national and provincial authorities in responding to the floods, and the country's army chief on Saturday visited the southern province of Balochistan, which has been hit heavily by the rains. Teams of drillers are working long hours to build wells to fight a devastating drought sweeping parts of China. The country has issued a national drought emergency earlier this month as record high temperatures continue to scorch the regions along the Yangtze River. Jiangxi Province, one of China's 13 major grain-producing regions, raised its drought emergency response from level 3 to level 4, the highest of the country's 4-tier ranking system. The heat has struck the agriculture sector hard and caused a patchwork of factory shutdowns across the country.
这个村嘛，反正是所有的田都特别的旱，然后嘛，我们接到打紧的通知就 背着黑着赶着，反正每天超过15小时以上的工作量，
就是为了钻井。
对，为了把他们井打出来，让他们有水用。
In Nanchang, villagers caught some small fish and river snails with a net and cage in the few small dried-up mud ponds left in China's largest freshwater lake. Muddy land is exposed in the drought-stricken Poyang Lake. Poyang is known as the kidney because of the role it plays in regulating the flow of the Yangtze River in central Jiangxi province, taking on floodwaters in the normally wet summer and then receding dramatically during the dry autumn and winter. This year, as a record heat wave throughout the Yangtze Basin stretches beyond 70 days, the lake has shrunk far earlier than usual and is just a fifth of its size of a few months ago. European electricity prices soared to a new record on Friday, presaging a bitter winter as Russia's invasion of Ukraine inflicts economic pain across the continent. The year-ahead contract for German electricity reached 995 euros per megawatt hours, while the French equivalent surged past 1,100 euros, a more than tenfold increase in both countries from last year. In Britain, energy regulator Ofgem said it would increase the electricity and gas price cap almost twofold from 1st October to an average $4,197 per year. Ofgem blamed the increase on the spike in global wholesale gas prices after the lifting of COVID restrictions and Russian curbs on supplies. The Czech Republic, which holds the rotating European Union presidency, announced on Friday that it would convene an EU energy crisis summit at the earliest possible date. Energy prices have soared in Europe as Russia has slashed natural gas supplies to the continent, with fears of more drastic cuts in the winter amid tensions between Moscow and the West over the war. 1/5 of European electricity is generated by gas-fired power plants, so drops in supply inevitably lead to higher prices. Thousands of followers of Argentina's former president and current vice president, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, took the streets in her defense yesterday, days after two prosecutors called for a 12-year prison sentence and a ban on public office for alleged corruption during her government. Prosecutors accused Fernández de Kirchner on Monday of defrauding the state and involvement in a scheme to divert public funds while president between 2007 and 2015. Saturday's largest demonstration took place outside the vice president's home in the elegant Buenos Aires neighborhood in Recoleta, where in the early morning hours, police set up fences in an effort to prevent a large gathering. In the afternoon, the demonstrators who claimed that Fernández de Kirchner is the victim of judicial persecution and that defences were affected by Buenos Aires' opposition mayor as a provocation, tore down the barriers and clashed with police. Hydrant trucks tried to disperse the crowds with water. According to local media, 5 police officers were injured and 4 protesters were arrested. Fernández de Kirchner leads the most hardline wings of the centre-left Peronist coalition that has governed Argentina since the end of 2019. The verdict and potential sentence will be decided by a judge, which could take months, though Fernández de Kirchner could appeal any decision, possibly delaying the final verdict for years. Tunisia and Japan launched a Pan-African investment conference on Saturday, seeking to counter the influence of rival China, whose economic imprint on the continent has steadily grown. The conference takes place amid a complex international environment caused by the coronavirus pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Some 30 heads of state and government are attending the event in the capital Tunis at a time when the import-dependent North African nation is grappling with a deepening economic malaise. In his opening speech, Tunisian President Kais Saied urged delegates to search together for ways for African peoples to achieve the hopes and dreams of the first generation after independence. He praised Japan's success in achieving development at the same time as preserve its culture and social traditions. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida will be attending remotely after testing positive for COVID-19. The Japanese delegation is being led by Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi, with about 5,000 participants set to attend. Morocco withdrew from the event and recalled its ambassador from Tunisia for consultations after Said hosted the head of Western Sahara's Polisario independence movement. Japanese economic paper Nikkei reported that aid to Africa could increase by 40% over the next 3 years in response to their powers that have boosted their presence on the continent. Next in sports, Liverpool claim first league win with record equaling performance. Stay with us. Liverpool earned their first win of the season in stunning fashion, equaling the record for the biggest ever Premier League victory with a 9-0 thrashing of promoted Bournemouth at Anfield last night. 2 goals inside the opening 6 minutes from Luis Diaz and Harvey Eli put the host into a commanding position from the off. A stunning strike from England fullback Trent Alexander-Arnold, which arrowed into the top corner, gave Liverpool a 3-goal lead in the 28th minute before Roberto Firmino got in on the act with a 4th 3 minutes later. Not done there, Liverpool had a 5th before the interval, with Virgil van Dijk heading home from a corner, the first time the Reds had netted 5 in the first half of a league game since 1958. Chris Mapham's own goal had the visitors staring at the prospect of an embarrassing drubbing, with such worries heightening after a close-range finish from Firmino and substitute Fabio Carvalho's volley. After Diaz headed in the 9th, Liverpool had 5 minutes to become the first side to score 10 goals in a Premier League match.
That's why I said we had to prove a point for us. We were not happy with the way we played. We had good moments in nearly all the games where we showed things which we are strong at and other things where we have to improve, and that's what we had to do today. But it's not that you cannot make a list and take them all off the list step by step. You just have to give the game a proper direction, and that's why I love the start today so much.
Along with Manchester United twice and Leicester City, 4 teams have now scored 9 in a Premier League match. Now over in Germany, Bayern Munich forward Leroy Sané scored a late equaliser to help the Bundesliga champions claim a 1-1 draw at home against Borussia Mönchengladbach. With that, Bayern maintained their unbeaten start to the campaign after it came under serious threat early today. Sané curled in his efforts into the bottom corner in the 83rd minute as Bayern were rewarded with their relentless pursuit of a leveller after squandering several chances and being kept at bay by the impressive Jan Sommer in the Gladbach goal. Earlier, Mönchengladbach went ahead in the Elsewhere, Anthony Modest's first goal for Borussia Dortmund helped them to narrow 1-0 win at Stuttgart and were rewarded in the 32nd minute when Modest towered above his marker to head home from a Salih Ozan cross. Backed Dortmund back in the 79th minute, but Marco Richter's left foot shot from the edge of the area was tipped onto the bar. France Adrian Manarino won his second career ATP title and first since 2019 on Saturday, defeating Serbia's Laslo Djere 7-6, 6-4 to capture the Winston-Salem Open. The 34-year-old left-hander had lost 9 of his 10 prior ATP finals, dropping 3 in a row since capturing his first tour title in 2019 on Rosmalen grass. World number 65 Manarino, who saved 4 match points in the first round triumph, won 83% of his first serve points to hoist the trophy in his first ATP final. Manarino won the last 6 points of the tiebreaker to capture the first set after 75 minutes, taking the final point on a service winner. Djere, ranked 89th, denied the Frenchman on a match point and held in the 9th game of the second set, but Manarino held at love to claim the crown on a backhand winner. Manarino, who will jump to 45th in the rankings next week, became the oldest champion in tournament history and the first Frenchman to claim the title. Ferrari's Carlos Sainz will start tonight Belgian Grand Prix from pole position after penalties reshuffled the grid and sent Red Bull's pace-setting championship leader Max Verstappen down to 15th place. The Dutchman, one of 7 drivers carrying engine and gearbox-related grid drops, set the fastest time of 1 minute 43.665 seconds to beat Spaniard Sainz by a comfortable 0.632 seconds. Verstappen will still start ahead of Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, his closest title rival, who was 4th fastest but drops to 16th. Mexico's Sergio Perez was 3rd quickest for Red Bull and will move up to the front row alongside Sainz, with Alpine Fernando Alonso behind on the second row. The 24-year-old leads Leclerc by a mighty 80 points with 9 races to go. Sainz, starting from pole for the second time in his Formula One career, was keen to seize on the opportunity to take a second win but wary of Red Bull's speed. Behind the top 3, 7 times world champion Lewis Hamilton set the 7th fastest time and will start 4th ahead of Mercedes teammate George Russell in 5th. Alexander Albon will start an impressive 6th for Williams, ahead of McLaren's Daniel Ricciardo, AlphaTauri's Pierre Gasly and Aston Martin's Lance Stroll. The Canadian's teammate Sebastian Vettel will start 10th. Australian Jay Vine won a mountainous stage 8 of the Vuelta a España on Saturday as Belgian Remco Evenepoel held on to the overall lead. Alpecin rider Vine crossed the line on the final Asturance summit of the stage alone, 2 days after climbing to his first professional win on Pico Llano. Evenepoel of Quick-Step lead the pace amongst the big guns of the last 10 kilometers climbed at 8.5% incline and was 1 minute and 20 seconds adrift, with Enric Mas of Movistas and Primož Roglic of Jumbo the only riders able to hold on to the 22-year-old red jersey holder's pace. Evenepoel now leads Mas by 28 seconds in the general classification, with Roglic in 3rd at 1 minute and 1 second. 2 Ineos Grenadiers lurk just behind them to round out the top 5, with Carlos Rodriguez at 1 minute and 47 seconds and Tao Geoghegan Hart at 1 minute and 54 seconds. The race set off under low grey skies through the Nalon Valley, and 10 riders escaped on the first climb on the Pico de Europa National Park. Sunday's stage takes in a coastal run before a finale which is perhaps more fearsome with a short 4-kilometer effort, but at 12%. Monday is a rest day, but is followed by a long individual time trial where Evenepoel on paper at least should punish his rivals again before the Vuelta swoops into the south. Spain's Kilian Jornet won the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc for the fourth time on Saturday, finishing the ultra endurance race in a record 19 hours and 49 minutes and 30 seconds. The 170-kilometer mountain ultramarathon, which was first held in 2003, passes through France, Italy and Switzerland and draw competitors from all over the world. Jornet eclipsed compatriot Paul Capel's mark of 20 hours, 19 minutes and 7 seconds set in 2019. The 34-year-old, who had also won the single-stage mountain event in 2008, 2009 and 2011, staved off the strong challenge from Frenchman Mathieu Blanchot, who also went under 20 hours with an effort of 19 hours, 54 minutes and 50 seconds. James Walmsley started strongly after the race began on Friday in Chamonix, but despite dominating to Champelloc, the American was caught by Jornet and Blanchot on the climb to La Giede. Jornet then attacked at Volacine while approaching the final climb to Tete au Vent and was well ahead of Blanchot by La Flégère as he held on to secure victory.
Perbarisan dan Perarakan Hari Kebangsaan 2022 31 Ogos 2022 Rabu bermula pukul 7 pagi bertempat di Dataran Merdeka Kuala Lumpur. Orang ramai dijemput hadir.
Alright, so that ends today's updates at noon. Wrapping up with a reminder of our top story. Over 5,000 rural traders register for Ready program. Tune into news at 10, coming up at 10 p.m. on saluran Berita RTM. You can stream the channel live on YouTube or via RTM Click's web portal and mobile app. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Have a pleasant weekend.